Notes. But on Friday we have a BFF quiz, and so I want to do some more of that review right now. So get out your BFF quiz practice packet. Yesterday we did the first one. So today we're going to do the second and the third. Number 2 and number F. They're called for some reason. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's how they're labeled. All right. So it looks like Gavin and Jordan. All right, so let's take a look at it. Here we go. Get the indicated curves. Now guys, remember that every practice quiz is just like the real thing. So, just like yesterday, you're going to have to graph 3 of these. What in the world is that first one? That is a crazy looking equation. Which one is that? Get your note cards out if you don't know. That's logistic, and remember, the picture is way easier than the equation. You have an asymptote here, and you have an asymptote at 1, so you have an asymptote at 0 and 1, and then you have that squiggly in between. That is your logistic function. All right? I don't know why some of you don't have your note cards out. I would have them out if I were you. All right, what about cosine? Sketch cosine for me. What's it look like? Wave, right? Up and down, up and down? Okay, so we have to position it carefully then. How do we position it?
Not on the origin.
Not at the origin. So we start up here. You start up here at the top of the hill. So there's our hill, right? And then we have our values. What's 1 over x? That's reciprocal. Anybody know what the reciprocal looks like? That's right. That's right, Maeve. It's the one that's got an asymptote here and here. And then it's got a branch up here and a branch down here. That is your reciprocal function. Righto? Okay. Write the name of the indicated function. So, when you take the actual quiz, if you can't remember the name, but you can remember the equation, go ahead and put that down for half credit. Okay, put something down for half credit. If you full credit, you have to give me the name. What is the name of A? Either linear or identity. I don't care which one. They both are fine. You don't need to put both, but one or the other. Okay. What about B? Square root. And C. Greatest integer. Very good. The idea is that you're a little less dependent on your cards today than you were yesterday. Remember, we're not going to use our cards. Okay, 3. Now we're going to write the equation. What is A? Y. ln. L, not I, L. So y equals natural logarithm, L, logarithm. Natural logarithm. about B? You guys got this one. That one is the absolute value. And how about C? Cubing. Okay, now notice after you've done these questions, you've got 3, 3, and 3. That means there are 3 left. So for the missing 3, you can either give me the picture, the name, or the equation. I don't care, doesn't matter. Give me something about the 3 that are missing. So what's missing up here? X squared, the quadratic. So you can either write y equals x squared, you can write quadratic, or you can draw a parabola, right? Perfect. What else is missing? Sine. Sine is missing. Would you agree with that? We have cosine up here, but no sine. So y equals sine x. Or you can write the name, sine. Or you can draw a picture, and this is the one that has through the origin, right? And there's one more missing. Exponential. So y equals e to the x, or you can say exponential. Or you can draw a picture of it if you prefer. Now, does everyone understand that for that last question, I don't care what you put, okay? You only have to put one thing for each of the functions. So maybe this one you did an equation, this one you did a name, and this one you did a picture. I don't care, whatever you want to do. All names, all pictures, I don't care. Just some indication that you know what's missing. Got it? Okay, here's what I want you to do now. Set your cards aside. Look at practice F, which is the next one. And see what you can do without looking at your note cards. Okay, get an assessment of where you are. And then, I mean, if you can't do anything, then you need to get your note cards out. But hopefully there's something you can answer without the note cards. Remember, for part 3, they're all y equals, because you're writing an equation for part 3. Okay, be honest. Did anybody get any of the sketches? What'd you get, Jameson?
I got 3.
You got all of them?
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's the first one? It's our reciprocal. So is that the picture you had for the first one? Yep. And then the second one, oh, this is a hard one. What's the second one? Greatest integer. So remember, solid dot at the origin. And then over open. So this is how that should look. So start with a solid dot at the origin and go right and open. That's how they work. And I bet, did everybody get the last one, I hope? Everybody knows that is the for absolute value. All right. Jemiah, could you name any of the ones in number 2 without looking at your cards? Which one? Cosine?
Yeah.
Yep, she knew C was the cosine. Because we only have 2 waves. One goes through the origin, one doesn't. So it's not going through the origin, so it's not sine, it must be cosine. What was A on that one, guys? 2, what's the name of that function? Logistic. And then what's B?
Exponential.
Exponential. Macy, can you give me the equations of any of these things in number 3?
B is y equals x squared.
Beautiful. She said, I recognize my parabola, and that is x squared. Awesome. Now, did you recognize A?
It's just y equals x.
A is your linear, yeah, y equals x.
Y equals ln.
And then C is your natural logarithm, right? Ln x. What is that? It's not 1, it's not I, it's ln. Ln. Okay, now here comes the hard part. What did we not include?
Sine.
We didn't include sine. Okay, what else? What did you say, Macy? That's what you said, okay. We didn't include the square root, did we?
Cube?
And we didn't include the cube anywhere. There we go. On Thursday, we will do the last 3 practices, and then we will take our quiz on Friday. And it's going to look just like this. Okay, you're in complete control.
Yeah.
You either spend the time memorizing or you don't. That's where you know. By the way, if you want to, these are in Canvas, so if you want to print them off or something and do them again, you are more than welcome to do that. Quit yawning and get our notes out. And let's finish up 1.4. We started this yesterday. And I need to apologize. Because you guys never did composition last year. I don't know what happened, but I talked to Mr. Meyer and I said, hey, how much composition did you guys do? And he said none. And I said, oh, okay. So let me just quickly recap what we were talking about yesterday in terms of composition. So I have 2 functions. If I have f of g of 1, what does that mean?
It means
1 goes in to g. So if I put 1 in for the x's in g, what will I get? -7. Everybody okay with that? Then I take the -7 and put it into f. So f of -7 would be 2 times -7 plus 3, which is -11. And that is the final answer. Because I keep going as long as I have another letter to plug into. As soon as I'm done with the last letter, I'm done with the problem. That is the answer. Alright? Let's do one more. Let's do same functions, but let's do g of f of 3. Everybody work that out. Just make sure you can do it, because we're going to add a layer onto it today. So remember, you start here. So we're gonna plug 3 into F. So wherever you, F, wherever you see an X, put in 3. So F of 3 is going to be what? 9. 2 times 3 plus 3, 9. Then take that 9 and put it into G. So we get 81 minus 8, 73. Okay? All right. Now, ready for question L. This is 1.4, number 1, L. Problem L says f of g of x. And f is x plus 2. Oh. And g is x squared. Now, what letter do we start with? G. So we're supposed to plug x into G. Well, isn't x already plugged into G? So g of x is x squared. Just like if I had g of 2, it would be 2 squared. G of x is just x squared. Now I'm supposed to take this answer and plug it into F, right? Isn't that what I'm supposed to do? Take that answer and plug it into F? So look at your F function, and every time you see an X, you're gonna plug in X squared. Just like if you were doing F of 3, you would plug in a 3. Now we're plugging in an X squared. So that's gonna be X squared plus 2. And that's it, you're done. You don't do anything else. We're finished. I'll turn the page. Here's another one. H of f of x. Okay, what's H? H is negative 2x plus 5. Now walk me through this. What am I supposed to do first? Find f of x. But wait a minute, I already know what f of x is. F of x is x plus 2. Now I take that answer, x plus 2, and I plug it into h. So here's the x in h right here. So I'm going to plug in x plus 2 right there. So I'm going to have negative 2, x plus 2, plus 5. So instead of an x there, I am putting in whatever f was, which is x plus 2. And then I'll distribute and clean anything up that I can, and there we go. There's a little bit of extra room there, so let me give you one to try on your own. would you try, how about f of h of x? Will you try that one? F of h of x. Try that one on your own. Don't get bogged down. I know it can be confusing for sure, all these letters, but don't be confused. What is h of x? H of x is negative 2x plus 5. Take that and put it into f. So f of negative 2x plus 5, what will that be? Negative 2x plus 5 plus 2, which is negative 2x plus 7. Good job. Good job. Alright, if we have time when we're doing all this other stuff that we have to get done, we'll take a look at the homework and maybe do a problem or two from the homework. Okay, to solidify that a little bit. But we still have to finish our notes. So there's one more topic, and it is the topic of implicit functions. All right, let's take our calculators out. And if I told you to graph that on your calculator, I hope that you would look at me and say, oh, we got a problem, Mrs. Ford.
It's not in the right form.
What's the problem?
It's not in the right form.
It's not in the right form. Because in order to graph something on my calculator, I start with this button right here that says what? Y equals. It doesn't say anything about y squared. It says y equals. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this calculator, this problem, and I'm going to get y by itself. Okay, so what would you suggest doing?
Subtract x.
So y squared equals 4 minus x squared. I can't divide by something. I'm going to square root it. But what am I going to remember? When I square root it, it's plus or minus every single time. So I really have two different equations. I have the positive square root, and I have the negative square root. And yeah, I want you to write them separately. You'll see why in a minute. Okay, Manny?
Why is it only plus or minus on one side?
Well, remember, if I plus or minus both sides,
Yeah.
it would say negative y equals negative radical, negative y equals positive radical, y equals negative radical, and y equals regular radical. Well, this one and this one are the same, and these two are the same. So you can put plus or minus on both sides, but you have it's overkill. Okay?
So anytime you square a root, you have to put plus or
You
minus?
do. Absolutely, you do. Think back when we completed the square, when we were solving equations and we had something like this, and we square rooted both sides, remember? We had to say x plus 3 equals plus 4 minus root 7 in order to get our two answers. Okay? Now, okay, they're not, oh, one more quick comment. See these numbers, I see a square root of 4 and a square root of x squared. I might be tempted to do something there. You can't. You're never going to do anything with that. You're going to leave it alone. It doesn't simplify. Okay? Look at this. Would you agree with this statement? Is that a true statement? 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. Add them together, you get 25. That is a true statement. If I square root both sides, and then try to simplify and say 3 plus 4, look what happens. Is that true? No, you can't do it, guys. Do not try to simplify that, ever. Okay? All right, but now I have 2 equations that I can put in my calculator. So let's zoom 6 to make sure we got a decent window. Get rid of whatever else I got in there. And then type this in. So square root, everybody knows what your square root button is. And then 4 minus x squared. That's one equation. And then negative, and remember we're using our negative button, not your subtraction. You're using your negative button. Negative square root 4 minus x squared. And then hit graph. Now, did it graph 2 pieces?
Yes.
It did. Now, this is actually a circle. And if yours looks like mine, it doesn't look like a circle. So here's a magic button I'm going to have you press. Press zoom square. Now does it look like a circle? Yes. When they made this calculator, they made it with a rectangular window. So when you graph, everything automatically gets warped because they're fitting it into a rectangle. If you want to know what something really looks like, zoom square. And that will square up your screen, and then you'll know exactly what it looks like. This guy right here was the top half of the circle, and this was the bottom half of the circle. Now, this circle is not a function, but is the top half a function? Is the bottom half a function? So we took the whole equation and broke it into 2 things that were functions. And then when we graphed those, they got put together into something that is not a function. Where's your calculator? Not acceptable. Not good. Not good. Gotta have a calculator. Every single day, right? Who else? Are there any other scoundrels in here I need to yell and scream at? They say,
It's so broken.
honey, I don't know what's going on. Broken calculator.
It's the battery.
This time. Okay, Macy, you know where CVS is?
Yeah.
Go buy battery.
Be more like mainly a
Get calculators or just like no calculators, okay? So you are welcome, any of you with the rechargeables, you're welcome to come in first thing in the morning, pop it in, and then be ready for class. But we gotta have a calculator, okay? You gotta have a calculator. So what happens when you don't? You gotta rent one. And those stupid little 50 cents add up.
Yeah. Bro, thanks. You put on my calculator. Oh, here it is. Well, mine's different.
Yeah.
When can you do it in one?
It takes a while to put it.
Well, I have a different calculator. I have the newest one.
Actually, I might have it.
Hey, it was my sister. She did 50 steps. So she got
Text me.
All right. right, number 2, here we go. Anything with a y squared is not going to be a function. So you're not going to be able to just type it in on your calculator. So what we're going to do with problem number 2 is exactly what we just did with problem number 1. We are going to get y by itself. So here we go. 2x plus y squared equals 8. So we're going to subtract 2x. Everybody with me? And we're going to square root. And we're going to get 2 separate equations, which we're going to write separately because we're going to put them in separately. Y equals positive square root 8 minus 2x. And y equals negative square root 8 minus 2x. Now let's see what shape these are. So square root 8 minus 2x and negative, and remember to use your negative button. I know I already said that, but this is one of the biggest errors we have. You have to use the negative button. So negative square root 8 minus 2x. What shape did you get this time? You got a parabola, but it is sideways?
Yeah.
So when you look at that on your screen, kids, that is not a function, is it? But you didn't graph it all at once. You graphed the top half, which is a function, and you graphed the bottom half, which is a function. These are called the implicit functions. These are called the implicit functions. So when the directions say, find the implicit functions, you just solve for y. Get y by itself. All right, let's see what shape we've got in C. So if you're keeping track, A was a circle. I'm not going to quiz you over that or anything, but A was a circle. B was a sideways parabola. I wonder what C is. So we're going to get our implicit function. So we're going to subtract 3x squared, right? And then square root. So 6 minus 3x squared and negative square root 6 minus 3x squared. I'm so curious. I wonder what shape this will be. Now, I have no idea why. Kids ask me this every year, and I've never taken the time to try to look it up or figure it out or whatever. The 2 pieces of this one don't look like they're connected, are they? But they are. I'm not sure why it skips that space, but they are connected. This shape is what we call an ellipse. It's like a elongated circle, like an oval. Clearly not a function if you look at the whole thing, but the 2 pieces we graphed are functions. Top half, that's a function. Bottom half, that's a function. And they are connected. I promise, they are connected. All right, last one. Wonder what this is. Yeah, this one's gonna have a little more arithmetic. Don't freak out. We're gonna get y by itself. So we're gonna subtract x. And and then divide by -4. And then take the square root. Now again, let's not even mess with that, because most of you, if you mess with that, you're gonna mess with it wrong. So just leave it alone. Your implied functions, your implicit functions are the square root of 16 minus x over -4, or the negative square root of 16 minus x over -4. Your calculator doesn't mind that ugliness. We would just put it right in. This could be problematic depending on the age of your calculator. When you press square root, did these parentheses automatically come in? They usually do. Well, if they don't, you need to put them in, because you're actually gonna have double parentheses. You're gonna have the square root, parentheses, and then another parentheses, x, or 16 minus x. Close that one. 46. Close that one, divided by -4, and then close that. So square root, parentheses, parentheses, 16 minus x, close one parentheses, divided by -4, close the other one, and hit graph. Well, I don't know what happened. Did you get a picture?
No.
I didn't either. Let me change my window. I don't know if the window's too big or too small. There, I got something. Okay, yeah, for this one, we need to change our window. Change your X. Go ahead and manually press window, and we're gonna change the window. And I'm gonna use 0 and 50 and -10 and 10 and see how that does. Yeah, that'll work. You press window and then type in the number. Type 0 and 50 and -10 and 10. Would other numbers be okay? Yeah, I just played with that because I needed to see a picture. And what shape did we get this time? A parabola that opens sideways, like this? And the reason we didn't see it the first time is because your teacher wasn't paying enough attention. And we had a screen set up like this, but the parabola was out here. So I had to make my screen bigger to accommodate that equation. So that could be a learning experience. What do we do if we put in an equation and we don't see something? We change our window. Well, first double check and make sure your equation's in right, and then go to your window and just start playing with it until you get it to count. Okay? All right, 1.4 is due on Thursday. I am gonna hand back our quizzes, and I know some of you haven't taken this yet, and unfortunately, once I hand them back, the makeup's a little tougher. So we'll wanna make sure if you don't have this quiz taken yet, that you get it taken.
We did all that.
I'm not the teacher.
Now, there were 4 different quizzes, 4 different versions, so if you've got something, that you can't figure out, go find somebody right now, take a few minutes, find somebody that's got your quiz. And you can tell what the quizzes are by how many hearts are colored in at the time. So there's 4 hearts, and they're all colored in.
Yes.
I
have 4 hearts.
Okay, I have one of mine.
We're all taking this find somebody with your same.
I got 4.
It's not the worst.
I got 4.
They all have their hearts.
I got the negative and then this one was all.
Okay.
I didn't reduce. What quiz you got? I have 4 hearts.
No. Yeah, no. It was your fire friendly a little bit. I didn't feel like man, I can't believe I did that. Why did I put all real?
You okay? Got to figure it out?
Yeah.
David, what quiz you got? What quiz you got?
I got the 4 heart children. I did some mad stupid.
See, I knew you were going to say that. This is my first good I thought you got
Dang, what happened?
I didn't get the last part of the demands wrong. Right.
Okay.
It was just good.
Please remember that if there's no denominator and there's no radical, then the domain is all real numbers, okay? We're not making our life hard. And I don't know where, some of you said none. I don't even know what that means.
Wait,
It's all real numbers, right? When we did the quadratic formula, everybody had a different quadratic formula problem. But kids, you have to be careful with your arithmetic. Because if you don't get it simplified to the right equation, then of course you're going to get the wrong answer because your A, B, and C aren't right. There are 2 people in this room who shall go unnamed this time. Next time I'm going to publicly humiliate you. We need to know the quadratic formula, people. Okay? No more nice guy. I'm going to call you out. You need to know the quadratic formula. If you don't know it, look it up, put it on a note card, mix it in with your BFFs, and learn it right along with them, okay? last comment, and then I'm gonna hand your test back. When do we simplify a radical? What has to happen? If you have the square root of some big number, what has to happen in order to simplify it? You gotta have two factors. You can't, if you have the square root of 14, I know 14 is 2 times 7. But you can't do anything with that because you don't have a second one. So it just stays the square root of 14. Right? I think we all know that. We just get careless. All right. All those papers you can keep. I am going to hand out your tests now, your last test. And this one, I get back. You do not get to keep this one, although you can come